The greatest jazz musicians didn't think in terms of scales when they improvised. If you sincerely want to learn some secrets to jazz vocabulary, you need to watch this video. How do you develop a jazz vocabulary? If all it took was knowing some scales, you'd be killing it right now, right? There's more to it than note choices alone. There's a language to jazz. If you learn the language, then you can speak it. Note choices are important if you want to sound good. Absolutely. We'll cover that too, but first, there is something more important. Boot-up, 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 boot-doo-doo-doo-bop. If there's just one thing I hope you can take away from this lesson, is learning that rhythm is just about the most important thing. If you can sing rhythms, you will automatically fix any phrasing issues that you might have. Rhythms and phrasing go hand in hand, and your articulation will sound more natural as well. I'll show you. Notice I wrote it like this, but when I sang it, it sounded more like this. See, notes are short, staccato here, but short and accented here. Try it yourself. Rewind it to that spot and sing it with me several times until you get the inflection. Come on, don't be bashful about singing when you're all by yourself. Unless you're on a bus or something. It's really important if you want to get your phrasing to sound authentic. If you're a guitar player or a piano player, we can develop bad habits of never leaving space like horn players or singers do because they literally have to breathe to make sound. We don't have to. In other words, playing natural sounding phrases. Notice that this is much more dynamic than this way. Remember that often the starting and ending of phrases are short, and a single quarter note is usually short as well. Also, notice the triplets. Triplets, both eighth note and quarter note varieties, are very important to the jazz language. Check out Dizzy Gillespie talking about rhythm and articulation.
The greatest characteristics of the music, I think, is the rhythmic content, the way that you get from one note to another. You see, before we came along with playing the music, a guy either played legato or staccato, like legato, or staccato. See? But we do the way that we play. We play them all together, legato and staccato together. For myself, I try to play. I set a rhythm, like. will notice some of the notes I'm attacking and some I'm slurring. See? So that gives a better buoyancy to the music because it shoves it off. Those are tight and the music shoves the music off because your attacks. There's a certain phrase that I play that the trumpet players ask me all over the world because they hear it on the record. So this little figure that I play, and they say, "What are you doing in there?" They try to find the notes, but it's difficult. You know, but you see, type 1, slur 2, type 1, slur 2. You see, but I'm not conscious of this because that's the way that I sing. That's the way that I sing.
Now, let's put some notes to that last rhythmic phrase. How about over the first two measures of all the things you are? If we analyze the note choices that I did, I targeted chord tones, the main notes of a chord on beats 1 and 3. This A flat here and this B flat here are anticipated. You can think of it as this B flat as being beat 3. Really, it's just a little early. Anticipations are often on an upbeat. Choosing upbeats makes everything feel lighter.
So that gives a better buoyancy.
And gives everything more forward motion.
It shoves it off. Those are tight and the music shoves the music.
But anticipations don't always have to be upbeats. We could have started the phrase with the A flat on beat 4. Beat 4 and the end of beat 4 are usually the best spots for anticipation. Why? Because there's usually a new chord change coming up in the next measure on beat 1. Here is a C minor arpeggio, but you can also think of it as an A flat major 7 arpeggio if you include the A flat. Either way, they work great over the F minor 7. These three notes are working together as an enclosure. It's using chromatic notes to get to the F on beat 1. It creates more excitement and interest other than playing a scale passage. The great jazz guitar player Barney Kessel once said, "Playing scales is like a boxer skipping rope or punching a bag. It's not the thing in itself." Meaning, scales are not equal to improvising. All these things I mentioned, I do now without really thinking too hard about it anymore. Through practice and playing, it's just become the norm. Remember, jazz is a language, right? When you have a conversation with someone, you don't have to plan and think of every word you're going to say, right? You just speak off the top of your head. But it took you practice conversing with others to get to the point where you're at now. Why would music be any different? If you want to dive in deeper to understand how to use chord tones, enclosures, and how to sound like jazz, watch the video that's going to pop up on the top right corner. You have to roll all of that stuff together and play it with attitude. Yep. Whether you want to call it swagger, chutzpah, or in order to come across with confidence, you have to mean what you play and play what you mean. You should throw caution to the wind and just go for it. You have to stop worrying about perfection and trust something will spark. Now, that doesn't mean something amazing will always happen every time, but you have to play like you know what's going on, even if it doesn't feel like it sometimes. It's a different muscle for you to exercise, that's all. I can't help you that much with attitude. You have to cultivate that yourself. However, I can help you with the other aspects that we talked about. I came up with a great lesson for you that gets you thinking and playing lots of rhythmic phrases, some space to create your own phrases, and how to choose notes in your solos the right way and get more of the chromatic language worked into your playing. Then you'll apply these ideas on the song, All the Things You Are. The link is below.